What is going on, guys? This is Suit Investor, and it's going to be a little bit of a different type of video today because I want to talk about the youth's mindset in terms of consumerism, in terms of investing. There's a great divide. There is a very small portion of the youth population in terms of like focusing on minorities, and and they don't invest, right? And that's a problem. And it also attributes to what we taught in school because the school system failed us greatly. And you know what, we're teaching our youth. But the issue lies in that it's we're not in a time to start being consumers and start buying into higher prices, like buying into higher materialistic things, because inflation is here. Okay, inflation is definitely here, and I'm sure you've seen it. Things like shrinkflation is happening, where you could buy the same product, but they're cheaping out on the same product. Like for example, um, inflation affects us in very in a variety of different ways. But there's one type of inflation that makes it seem like the economy is doing well when it really isn't doing well because these companies are strained by supply chain issues. They have things stuck in docks that they need to get to us, so they need to increase costs in order to. It's a whole cycle, but let's take this for example. Okay, this bottle of water. So this Poland Spring water, let's say it has a value of $1, and typically there is 16 fluid ounces in here, right? So when you buy Poland Spring water for $1, you expect to have 16 fluid ounces of water within a bottle. Well, inflation could change that. Inflation could have you think that you're buying the same water and you're buying the same bottle. The same Poland Spring water tastes exactly like Poland Spring water, but there isn't actually 16 fluid ounces in here. There's a bit less. And why does that make a difference? Well, because you're paying for less. You're paying the same amount for less. And you're doing that because the companies that are providing you that type of product or service are cheaping out in ways like that so that they could recoup their investment, and they could, you know, keep the money rolling, and they could try to figure out this whole inflation things while everything's going crazy. Okay. So inflation could affect us by shrinkflation in terms of, shrinking the actual uh, quantities and like products and stuff like that. Okay. Um, there's another type of inflation which we are all familiar with, and that's price increases. Luxury items are getting more expensive, so specifically designer clothing like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, all they're already set to increase prices for the same exact products. So it begs the question: why are we comfortable paying those prices? Why is it that we feel the need to invest in literally valueless products, like things that literally have no value outside of like a secondary resale market? And the secondary resale market is absolute trash. Okay, you're gonna buy like a pair of sneakers, and then at launch, and you're gonna wait like a few months until like all the stock is out, and then you're gonna sell it. And then when you sell it, somebody's gonna just lowball you a messenger talking about that they're not gonna pay that price, and they're gonna just give you $100 for it. And then it's just gonna be sitting in your closet. And guess what? Every time it sits in your closet, maybe a year goes by and a new pair of sneakers come out, and then you just literally lost your money. Okay, you just burnt it. So why haven't we taught our youth that? Why is it that when I talk to a group of people my age and I try to get them to understand the importance behind investing, they think I'm crazy because they see me and they're like, "Oh yeah, that will never work. That doesn't work." What I'm just gonna do is I'm just gonna chill, and I'm just gonna buy this thing, and I'm gonna make it seem and put on this facade like I'm successful when they're really not. Okay, really not. Wealth is a long term game, and it is important that you stay consistent. And whether or not you believe in investing, or whether you're not, you even do it or not, I highly suggest that coming this year, if you're young, you strongly consider it, because I'm 22 years old. Go back into my channel I made a whole entire video about how I am now worth what I am today, a cumulative net worth of around $50,000. And that's literally all to attribute to just being consistent. Okay. I don't do anything special. I don't have a high paying career. I'm not a software engineer. I don't work in tech yet. Keyword yet. I am literally just a retail worker making minimum wage. I live below my means. I don't load up on liabilities and I load up on assets that pay me passively through dividends. It's simple. It's a very simple concept, but you try to explain that to somebody my age, specifically, and it just for some reason it just doesn't work out, and we need to change that. So whether this video changes somebody's mind, I highly doubt that, but whether you know somebody that really needs to get their head in the game, and if you know they have a good head on their shoulders, you really need to push them in that direction, because building wealth over the long term has proven to always work basically 100% of the time. The 50-year average of the S&P has returned 7 to 9% over those 50 years on average. The bank pays you 0.001% of your money. You think that you're going to leave your money with the bank for 20, 30, 40 years and come back to a couple $1,000, maybe a couple cents if you're lucky? Why is that okay to us? Like, why do we think that that's the only way? It sucks. It really does suck. But of course, I'm going to still do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to continue to do it no matter, no matter what environment I am in, and no matter what people say, because I believe in it. And I am highly consistent, and my goal is literally 20, 30 years out. So I have all the time in the world to invest. And, it's just crazy that we haven't instilled in our youth, specifically like our minority youth, that this is what we need to do in order to break the cycle. Because if you haven't noticed, the cycle continues to stay in line, and people continue to stay in poverty because they relish the idea of getting a paycheck and indulging in things that don't matter, like clothing, like the BMW, like the new Honda, like getting the apartment. Stop loading yourself up at such a young age and start building. That's the entire moral of this story. That is the entire point of this of this video. Listen to me. Stop loading up on liabilities and start loading up on assets. That shopping cart shouldn't be filled with things that depreciate over the next 3 months. It should be filled with things that appreciate over the next couple of years. There's a difference between depreciation and appreciation. One makes you lose money, and the other one makes you money over time. You want to be making money on your time. You don't want to work on your feet and make money. You want to put your money to work, so that way while you're on your feet, your money is making you money, you're making money, and now it's like you have two of you. And that just expands over time, because when you accumulate more wealth, for example, let's say 6 years down the line, right? Well, let's say in a couple years from now. I'm 22 right now, okay? Cumulatively around $50,000. Let's say fast forward 5 years, and let's say without even contributing more money, like without even putting in more money, like I just let the market ride out, do its thing, and I come back to $70,000. That is a pretty reasonable return. That's a pretty reasonable type of time frame to come back to that type of money. Okay, perfect. I came back to more money over time. But what if that entire value wasn't in something that appreciates? What if it was in a car? Let's say, like, just an imaginary example, that $50,000 that I had was in a BMW. Okay, so I have a BMW. It looks cool. It looks great, actually. I get a lot of compliments on it. People ask me what I do for a living. I bullshit them and tell them I do something that I don't do. Okay, perfect. I'm living good. And then 5 years down the line, when it comes time to sell the thing, well, guess what? Depreciation hit it like a brick, and that $50,000 is no longer there because that car is not worth $50,000 anymore. It's worth around 20. So you lost 30 grand over the course of 5 years because you decided to flex. Why? Why? Nobody could answer that question. Every time that I bring that up, or every time that I try to make somebody understand that they're hurting themselves in that way, and people don't want to talk about finances because finances is a taboo topic because they don't want to hear it. It's their money and they want to do whatever they want with it. Okay, fine. Do whatever you want with it. Just be smart with it. That's the entire point of this video. The entire point of this video is to get our youth to stop loading up on liabilities, stop buying clothes, stop trying to get that apartment, stop trying to get that car and get the car note and finance the car and then to pay insurance because you're a first-time driver in New York and you're paying like $300 a month and come on. Come on now. You're young. You don't need to do that. You need to build. You need to start loading up on assets, not liabilities. And it's crazy how that doesn't click with people. But hopefully I upload this video and you guys could share this amongst the youth and maybe they could relate more to me because I'm around their age. I'm 22 years old and I'm making this video to express to you guys that we are effing up, okay? We're doing a bad job and we need to change that. We need to break the cycle. We don't want to be in poverty anymore. You don't want to be low class. You don't want to be middle class. You want to have that financial freedom. And in order to have that financial freedom, there's only one real way to do that. And that's build wealth over time. All you need to do is take time instead of going to the Nike store, instead of going to Soho, instead of going to Foot Locker and buying some sneakers. You need to instead reinvest that time within yourself. Learn how to invest. Watch some beginner videos and learn what an ETF is. And literally just buy ETFs because they're the most broadly diversified asset class that you could buy. And you could literally just have one ETF that spreads your money across multiple different sectors. And that's all you have to do. And stay consistent with it. Treat it like it's a savings account. Put money in every month, every 2 weeks, whatever you're comfortable with. And your money will grow. But that's hard for people to understand. So let this video be a warning to you. If you have youth, or if you have kids, grandkids, and people that are young that need this type of encouragement, especially from somebody that's around their age, like me, share this video with them. And hopefully I could, change their mind. And if I can't, that's fine. Just tell them to subscribe because over time I'll get them to change their mind because it's important. That's all for today.